Hi there, I'm Eric McRae. I am the player behind the team name Spargus Party in the MMORPG Tree of Savior on the North American server Clypedia. I'm making this video to sort of inaugurate the official launch of my anime and gaming commentary channel, and sort of explain a bit of who I am and what I'm about and what my ambitions are for breaking into video media and producing videos like this. So I'm a type of person who's typically interested in relationship-based discussion a lot. I like to engage in sharing of information, discourse, and education. I would identify myself as a person who is very concerned with the pursuit of truth and even absolute truth. But on the other hand, I am a regular human being like everyone else. I enjoy a good game. I enjoy a good anime. But I do step back to ask the questions of what is it that's even drawing me to these things, and is there value in it, and how do I make a use of these things that are in my life. And that sort of formulated the basis for making a channel like this. One of the concerns I had with getting involved in producing video content that's focusing on anime and gaming is I don't specialize in these areas only. What I mean to say is that I'm not a fan of acting like you're, as a person, an expert in these, and that as if you have to, in order to appease a viewership, never talk about anything else in another realm that's meaningful. For example, and I have no hesitance using the buzzwords politics, religion, things that typically make some people uncomfortable. I don't like to only talk about the one thing, so I had the debate in my head, now how do I do this, because I want to be able to make videos where I talk about those things when I feel like it, but at the same time I do want to talk about things like anime and gaming and commentary on them, which potentially gives you a divided viewership, because you have different viewers on internet media. You have some who aren't looking for something specific. They're not looking for an anime channel, a gaming channel, or a channel about some religious issue. They're just sort of going through things, looking for something to stimulate them. Then you have others who are more specialized, and now the worry is if you make a focused channel, specializing in only one topic, only staying on one topic and never getting outside that, not only are you limiting yourself, you might be hindering others from acquiring some of the knowledge you might possess by means of hearing it from you. And you also, how do I say it, you might be missing out on making a few new friends, and bringing them into an understanding similar to your own in a way that's more basically less agenda based. I think that's the way I would put it. So for example, I want to be able to have meaningful discussions about way more things than anime and gaming with the people and the friends I make in the game Tree of Savior. However, I don't necessarily want to force them into it and beat them in with an agenda and put them on the spot with questions that make them feel uncomfortable. I'd rather find a way to ease them into those discussions. On the same hand, so I'd actually openly say I do have an agenda to talk about anything and everything, but on the same hand, I'm not a politics and religion nut. Actually, I have no problem talking about anything else, including things that I may not necessarily be particularly knowledgeable out on. For example, an automotive guy, I'm probably not going to have anything to offer him in terms of knowledge on that. But what I do have in a situation like that is something to gain, because I don't know a lot about automotive. If I talk with someone who's an expert in that, and if he's willing to be patient with my questions, which might be dumb, I'll probably gain a lot of knowledge and benefit from that in the future. So I'm always interested in relationship that's open and allows for the further gaining of wisdom and the discovery of new things. So my thoughts was to engage in a rather big project to make multiple YouTube channels. So how this works is by making an anime and gaming channel. I produce anime and gaming related content according to the flavor of my character and my personality, my interests. And if people watch it and are interested to it, well, I have my channel linking to another channel of mine where I might be talking about other topics. I might be talking about education and political issues, religious issues, world issues, things like that. So if people like me, they can make the willing choice to sort of bridge themselves into hearing more of the stuff I'm into and thinking on it and talking with me about those things. That's kind of something I'm really interested in. But another part of it is, of course, the question of profit. I hate to say it, but we do live in a world where you need to make an income and find a way to make the things you do bring you income. And if you're getting into YouTube, that or stuff like that, it does raise the question of monetization. Do you monetize your channel, which you need to get something like 1,000 subscribers to do, or do you do a different format where you don't monetize your channel but do allow for a donations page so people can donate to you and encourage them to donate, things like that. For myself, I decided to go the route of a donations page. I think it's more neutral, kind of less annoying, and it doesn't bind you to an endless stream of advertisements and various agendas of advertisers and strange YouTube algorithms and bots and things of the sort. I'd rather not be too tied to that, so I decided to not monetize my channels, and hopefully I find a way to get them out there. I don't know off the top of my head what the implication is for the search algorithms, if monetized channels get preference or not. I actually don't know. But what I do know is that either way, it's hard work to get your channel out there and get your material viewed and known and shared. Another challenge I face in this too is I'm the type of guy, I have no problem talking with a person for 2 hours if we get along. And the risk of someone like me is I could get in a conversation for almost an infinity's worth of time, but I don't have an infinity's worth of time or money to justify that. In other words, I would very easily produce a 2-hour or 3-hour video, and a huge base of YouTubers are very much not interested in something that long, so it challenges me whether I'll be able to keep things short and concise or not. How much can I shorten it? How much can I justify it? That is another thing that's going to be a bit difficult for me. And another question is, how much do I produce original content versus something that's typologically just my version of the same thing everyone else is doing? So I have some very unique thoughts and ways of doing things that you might see as you go through my gaming channel. For example, something I want to do is highlight the people I play on the MMOs with rather than just the classes and the things in the MMOs. So I don't mind doing a short little documentary, if you will, or a biography on somebody in my guild or something like that. That is something that's fairly uncommon, but at the same time, I actually enjoy music and artistic depictions of like a music video of like fighting a boss in a game or something like that. Well, that is pretty generic, and I'll still probably produce those things as well. So I'm kind of have my hands in a bit of everything. So definitely thinking about it, some videos I can definitely see myself producing a 3 or 4 minute video if it's something like a music video of in-game actions, you know, doing a weekly boss raid or something like that. But on the same hand, when it comes to the more discussionary elements, so to speak, that is so intimidating. It's very, very hard to keep it even under 20 minutes. As you see, this video is already at 9 minutes past, so it's incredibly challenging to achieve a goal like that, yet try to fulfill my kind of personal character trait is I'm very big on openness and accountability. I like to give you the full story and not censor things. I find my general view is that for most people, that will take a lot of the stress and the pressure out of their life. When they get the full story, they have the full details, they're able to think and meditate on their actions. There's a removal of emotions of anger or disdain, fear of the agenda, these kind of things. There is a sort of a pacifying effect where we're all able to think a little more clearly and get along a little better and kind of be buddies. And I'm not necessarily a guy naive enough to say I want to live in this sort of Care Bear universe per se. Don't mistake this for like weakness, like a pushover, but on the same hand, I do think that you can form a lot more friendships than you realize and enjoy them a lot more than you realize. So I have no hesitancy about doing that and no shame or embarrassment in it either. So what are some of the topics I want to go over in more detail? Because like for me, religion and politics is something I was classically big on. I do have a YouTube channel on that, but I'm thinking of remaking and structuring another, just on a basis of I have some questions with the way I did that one and whether it's been subject to shadow banning and various things like that, a topic for another time, and other concerns that I don't really know if I can talk about in this video, because I'm fearing that this will be too long and no one will watch it. So this video here I'm making right now, it's more for the people who maybe they get into my channel in the future, they see a music video or something they like, they get into it, and they start trying to figure out who I am and what the whole channel's about more than past the one video they enjoyed. This is kind of to give them the whole story, right? So yeah, I'm probably not going to go into that right now. That'll be for another time. But yeah, I cover a lot of topics. I talk about politics. I talk about religion. I also talk about things I like in a game or think make a good game. I talk about food I like. And that's also been something I thought of doing, even making a food channel. But that is not a high priority for me. I enjoy cooking. I did study at George Brown Chef College, at least for a semester. It wasn't the most successful, best thing in my life, but it's not like I have a disdain for cooking at all. I rather enjoy it, and it would be fun to make videos on it, but I can justify the time in it. I can only grow into what I have the resource to justify. Actually, sorry, I think my mind got a little distracted here. Going back to the issue of monetization, why is this important and relevant to gaming as a question? Not just for myself, anyone who wants to get into this. So think about it. We live in a world that is really run by labor. Labor produces your wealth. It keeps the roof over your head, and it's connected to monetization. A game like a MMORPG like Tree of Savior, could be Resident Evil 4 or whatever you're playing, it's not something really known to be labor. It's known to be leisure or entertainment. And the general reality, and I have no complaint about this, it's actually pretty logical, you're not going to be paid for your leisure and your entertainment, and if you're therefore spending an unhealthy amount of time on leisure and entertainment, for example, grinding gear in Tree of Savior like I might be prone to doing, you're not going to be able to attain monetary value to help you keep your roof over your head and the food on your table, or afford a car, and much less afford to have a wife and children or things like that. You have to find a way, therefore, if you've engaged in a lot of gaming, if you see value in gaming, and you want to talk about gaming but not have it be anything other than a money sink, at some point you have to find a way to possibly monetize it or make it at least have the potential to bring in some monetary value. For me, that would also implicate this very project as well. Mind you, my agenda is not money only. Actually, my thought was, why not do a bit of everything you enjoy and make money for it? So for me, it's not an issue to talk about anything anime, gaming. It's actually rather enjoyable. And if you could get paid for having a fun conversation about a topic you enjoy versus just watching anime and playing gaming and not getting paid, well, isn't it more empowering to do that? And isn't it more beneficial to do that? And I'd say the answer is absolutely. And the benefits actually, some would see that with disdain or envy, like, I hate the idea of a guy getting paid for that kind of stuff, or making income out of it because I'm working at a 9 to 5 desk job with a terrible boss or something like that. Well, I work as a painter with a boss who's difficult, so this is, rest assured, I'm not making money out of this right now anyways, but if I did in the future, I'd say rather than be envious, why not try it yourself? That is a suggestion. I think that would resolve a lot of conflicts in the world. Don't be so quick to judge it if you've never tried it yourself, maybe. Excuse me for a minute there. But so I'm just saying, I don't necessarily think it's a selfish thing to think that way or to do those things inherently. But another thing, actually, there are benefits that are out of self, so to speak, if you engage in something like this, a project like this. So let me give you an example of how this is something that benefits even others. Say I find a musician that produces music. I like to listen to a lot of Mega Man remixes, for example. I like that music style. It was very engaging and emotionally stimulating for me. So if I make a video of recording from some Tree of Savior gameplay, and I put a music video, and I properly accredit the artist and include a link directing people to the artist, chances are if they like that music, they go to their YouTube channel and check out their other stuff they've produced. Chances are if they like that artist, they might consider donating to his Patreon account or something like that. So now you're bringing value to more than just yourself, to other people's. You're linking your personal video project to other people. And you're, instead of putting spotlight on yourself all the time, you're able to put spotlight on someone else. Well, that's a great benefit as well, and that's something that makes me interested in producing videos very much, because I have a lot of people I would bring spotlight on, for sure. I know a lot of great producers and people with great ideas who probably could use all the spotlight they can get. And on the topic of music, that was actually something I really had on mind, because like this did come up recently as I was sort of debating in my head what I'd do in my gaming and anime channel, what kind of things I'd talk about. I realized that one of the things I have common in it that I end up talking with on a lot of the people at Tree of Savior is music. Like it's not a shocking or surprising thing. It's like if you go on the Discord for any guild, like Impetus or Full Moon Cafe or any guild in Tree of Savior on North America, you notice almost all of them have a meme channel. There's things in common. Almost all of them have a music channel. It's pretty normal to talk about music, and I found it engaging and interesting because I really thought I'd like to make some commentaries on some artists like maybe Sabaton or perhaps Stratovarius and some others that where I kind of enjoyed their music and had thoughts about it, or commentaries to make. So again, that made me topically confused, because at this point I had already made a YouTube channel called Gaming and Anime, not Gaming and Anime and Music, and I wasn't really interested in changing the name. So it made me then the question comes up, do I make another channel for this? Do I join this into my channel? It's very intriguing when you think about how will I manage all this. At any rate, these things come up, so I think it's probable that I'll do music commentaries, and just, even though it's not per se categorically related, debating whether I should change the channel name, I'll probably find a way to squeeze it in there, and hopefully people will view those videos if they view my gaming videos, because there's a lot of value in that for them. I think they'll find some music that I know about that they didn't know about that they might actually really appreciate and enjoy. So what are other concerns when you start making a channel? Well, like for all of us, a real big concern with YouTube is kind of the push and pull of censorship and various political agenda that is in the YouTube staff at points. You know, you hear about things like shadow banning and this and that, and what ends up happening for a lot of content creators, and you might think this is somebody maybe you don't like a religious person or like a politically minded person. Fair enough. I don't like a lot of religious people and politically minded people, despite being in communities related to these topics. I kind of understand. The problem is, the great danger is, where do you draw the line for a censorship kind of attitude? And something like causing somebody's video to have less search results, shadow banning, or outright banning, blocking somebody's videos from YouTube. What is the level of offense you draw? How do you formulate what constitutes an offense or a violation? And is it going to be something that is realistic or unrealistic? Well, you have to ask those questions. So you ended up having, for example, we have this concept of what people are calling the woke phenomenon, and maybe YouTube staff taking a stance that's very pro this phenomenon. And yet what ended up happening at times was, even people of political stances that would be categorized with them, the one slip up they made of saying one thing kind of wrong punished some of them and everyone together. So in the interest of protecting people's irrational levels of sensitivity to words, YouTube in the past 2 years banned and shadow banned a lot of channels, and even some of their own, what would have categorized themselves as their own friends, who would have agreed with certain bannings they did on other people, but they're like, hey, now you ban me too. And why I'm bringing this up is, now me starting out, never having had a really big channel on YouTube with a lot of views and a lot of income, it gives you all this concern. Should I go on other platforms? Should I go on YouTube and other platforms? How much work do I put in seeking out other video media? And how do I deal with all these radical control attempts? Because I can't promise that I can perfectly analyze everything I say and never have an offensive word slip out, or that with people's increased sensitivity I'll be able to predict. I can't promise I can even predict what the offense was, because it used to be like, it would be obvious if you had some kind of grotesque sexual harassment kind of terminology or something like that. But now, as people are trying to change language and diction of modern society, especially in the West, to accommodate for a variety of stances, ethical groups, vegan moralities, sexuality stances, and as things become more and more vague and unclear, new groups pop up every day with new terminology, politicking, and somehow get catered to, and things get banned that you don't even know what you said that triggered or bothered them, and it's impossible to avoid that. So obviously for me, that kind of makes me uncomfortable making videos. It is kind of subject to frustration, and I'm open about talking about it. I think it's kind of stupid and unprofitable for everyone, especially mostly for the people engaged in that kind of thing. I'm hoping that won't be an issue for the channel, but I decided to go bravely make videos regardless. This is already drawn out quite long. As you can see, it's 23 minutes. I'll just add in a bit more. I wanted to share what are the challenges for me, so you'll understand if you're watching videos by me and you're enjoying the content, and maybe you're like, why doesn't he produce more, or why does it go at a certain pace? I do want you to understand there are many challenges besides what I just mentioned. Me methodically thinking out of how I'm going to approach a topic and things like that, affecting the time between production of a new video. There is some limitations according to my possessions and my finances. For example, right now I have the PC I'm running only has one hard drive, and it's not a super big hard drive. It's maybe like 120 gigabytes or something like that, and it's unfortunately modern games take up a lot of space. This also limits me in terms of what games I can do content of right now. So if I make more money in the future, which would not probably come from these channels straight away, I wouldn't expect an income. Even if I worked on these channels, they became very popular and there was demand for it, I wouldn't expect to make an income that's significant out of them any earlier than a year and a half, 2 years. So for me, that'll be me doing contracting work, painting, a bit of landscaping, gardening, putting together like a raised garden bed or something like that. These are kind of the ways I make money and provide. And I have to budget that wisely, obviously, before I can buy a new computer. Right now, this computer is a 2013 computer. And believe it or not, up until a while ago, I had an even worse computer. I'm not going to go into why I'm at that level or why financially things were not well conducted, because I'm humble enough to say a lot of bad decisions were made in my life. That might have set me back in some ways, but honest enough to admit I'm trying to do the right thing about it now, move in a positive direction. But regardless, the challenge of that, obviously I can't record a lot of videos. Tree of Savior takes up 32 gigabytes or something like that on its own. With a few games installed on Steam, the space left to produce videos runs out. I could literally be recording a video like this and it looks like it's recording and it would just cut out because there's no space left. That's a big challenge. And another one is making the time available. So with the current job, I'm mostly working painting apartment units in the Sherburne area. It is very time consuming, some of the projects they give me. If they give me like a 3-bedroom apartment where I'm doing the whole thing, and there's a heck of a lot of plastering for some of these units, and they also give me a flooring job, there's tough deadlines in these, so I'm going to be forced to prioritize the job over producing videos. And if I'm prioritizing the job, I might be in there doing 16-hour days sometimes and for 2-3 days in a row to make sure I get the unit out, so that I'm not being vexed and annoyed by the management of the apartment buildings or by my contracting company's boss. So things like that happen, obviously. Oh, and that was actually, on that topic, that is one of the other channels I had intended to do. I kind of do intend to do a YouTube channel with video content covering the general contracting kind of work I do and commentary on what I experienced. So mostly in the interest of helping do-it-yourselfers, because if I've learned some certain things and trade secrets from either my boss or personal experience, I'm not a kind of guy to lord that over, hold it as a way to squeeze more money out of clients. I have no problem saving money for people by sharing the information so people can do it themselves. I'm very big on doing that, so I'll probably have a channel with commentary on that kind of content as well. And now then the challenge becomes to sort of work on all these channels, make them come to exist, and start promoting them between the various channels. So if I have a gaming and an anime channel, at some point in a video there has to be a little clip which is me advertising on some level, hopefully not an obnoxious advertisement. Oh, by the way, I also have a channel covering my general contracting work. Consider checking it out. Oh, I also have another commentary channel where we speak about religious and political issues, and if you find that interesting and you're willing to hear that, consider checking out, and vice versa on those channels, advertising the anime and gaming channel. So this is what I'm saying, is this is kind of what I'm trying to move into. This is a massive project. It's going to be a lot of production of videos. It's going to be a lot of content, and it has to be streamlined. It has to be worked on with a level of resources that where I'm not trying to be something I'm not. I have to live within my means. I can't afford the ultimate editing and compete with somebody who's currently got 20 million views on every video they produce. I'm not interested in that, and I'm not interested in necessarily changing the way I talk to suit me getting into a position like that more easily. On the same hand, I should produce the best I have with what I have, and not make excuses to give a lower quality video than what I could do. And I have to find out where's the fair balancing of all that. So it's not innately obvious. It's not easy per se. It will be a bit challenging. But I'm moving forward to engage in this all with a positive attitude. Now, I'm so sorry for this 30-minute video. I'm sorry that I ramble, repeat myself, and have weaknesses. I wanted so badly to make like a 5 or 10 minute video, but in the spirit of openness, I just put everything out. So this is the introductory video for what I'm about and what this channel is about, and what this overall project of multiple YouTube channels is about. So whether you watch it or not, like to spend the time or not, take it or leave it, that's where I'm going with this thing. And now, having gotten this out of the way, I can finally start producing the content, which will probably begin with some kind of music videos of Tree of Savior. And I am big on Tree of Savior. I'll explain what I like about the game, what I don't like, and hopefully shine some light on it, because I really hope we can, you know, I'd like to increase the Tree of Savior population, but I'm not a propagandist for IMC. I don't want somebody to get into a game they're not going to enjoy, and I'm not going to make that work their way. So I'm going to give you a balanced opinion on the games I'm currently in and experience, as well as any others, which there are. So thank you very much for your time. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next video.